Sorry, I just realized that the sound was off. Excuse for that. So the transnational cooperation is the key characteristic of the program, and it has two key aspects. That one, that the project is expected to have a transnational dimension, as well as the project is expected to result transnational impact. The transnational dimension means that the topic of the project has relevance in a broader territorial area, not only in one or two countries, not in a cross-border area, but a broader space within the Danube region, or actually the whole Danube region itself. The related challenge and territorial need is supposed to have such character, as well as the partnership is supposed to fulfill and be in line with it. So cooperation of 3-4 countries or cooperation of partners from cross-border areas are not really or not fulfilling this criteria. The transnational impact means that the project activities carried out and the outputs shall result such that has relevance on this the targeted broad territorial scale. So not only different local areas or all around the region, but somehow a more complex territorial approach and scope is expected. And it is to be understood that having a partnership from, I don't know, 6-5 countries, 6-5 different areas from the Danube region, but without that common link, that common transnational connection, that's not yet a transnational project, as well as the cross-border cooperation is not. From thematic point of view, the program is structured around 4 different priorities, and within each priorities there are different specific objectives. Today I'm presenting you 2 different specific objectives within the priority of environmental issues. The specific objective 2.2 is dealing with promotion of climate change adaptation capacities in the Danube region and disaster management on transnational level in relation to environmental risks, taking into consideration ecosystem-based approaches as well. The other specific objective is related to sustainable integrated transnational water and sediment management within the Danube river basin, and the purpose is to ensure good quality and quantity of waters, as well as good sediment balance. The challenges, the territorial challenges of the broader transnational level are identified in different aspects in connection to the climate change adaptation and environmental risk disaster management specific objective. As we can basically almost day after day experience as well, that the region is exposed to different issues like increased annual mean temperatures. The wet regions are receiving more precipitation, more and more precipitations, while dry regions tend to get drier and drier year after year. And also the frequency of extreme weathers, heat waves, dry periods, heavy rainfalls are getting more and more frequent. Also the related environmental disasters like floods, droughts, forest fires frequency is also more and more often. Climate change is also affecting ecosystems, economic sectors, human life, also on a transboundary scale, transnational scale at the same time. So there are many challenges that the region is facing with in these periods. Although thematically a slightly different topic, but nonetheless from the EU perspective, this topic is linked to the climate change and environmental risk topic, is the accidental pollution of water bodies and impacts of accidental pollution along the major transnational rivers of the region. Also need a coordinated response on a broader territorial level. So these are the challenges in connection to which the program defined different focus areas for this specific objective. On the one hand, it intends to strengthen cooperation of key actors of transnational area, of course, within the respective thematic field. Another thing is to related to Danube regional scale climate change forecasting and vulnerability assessment. Regarding the disaster prevention, preparedness, response, harmonization and coordination is needed on a broader territorial scale, and the program is also focusing on ensuring preparedness and adaptive capacity to cope with impacts of the climate change, providing different kind of climate services and to foster resilience. A key important aspect of the program is that flood and accidental pollution management actions are expected to target the main transboundary river basins. That is the reasonable scale of such interventions within the program, and on that level, the program is expected projects to contribute. Some words, a bit more concretely, what kind of issues, what kind of activities are supported by the program within this thematic field. On the one hand, it is expected to improve policies and institutional capacities in connection to a certain challenge and topic, meaning by developing integrated strategies, action plans, establishing policy and sectoral dialogues, and developing and implementing relevant trainings for the key target groups. Another topic activity which is supported is to harmonize management processes and in regarding managing certain interventions and or elaborating, for example, contingency plans. Elaborating and pilot testing joint solutions. For example, solutions can mean different things like monitoring system, monitoring tools, forecasting tools, databases, methodologies. All these in order to help and improve climate change adaptation on a broader territorial scale. Projects are expected not to have a single type of activity, rather a more complex and mix of these different activities, elaborating or developing strategies, elaborating or developing different solutions, influencing the relevant policy field, or provide solutions for the operative level. So projects are expected to be not a single-sided one, but more complex with a good and reasonable mix of activities. and at the same time to have clear focus on the thematic scope of this specific objective. Another important feature is that the projects are expected to have a territorial integrated approach, meaning that it is not supposed to focus on one single sector or one single aspect, but from a territorial point of view, integrating the different key actors and sectors that needs to provide a solution for the addressed challenge. More concretely, within the specific objectives, projects can try to harmonize climate change modeling, forecasting, and vulnerability assessment on Danube region basin scale. And these tools are expected then to be applied. So the project shall ensure that the developed tools are going to be used and applied on policy level or on operational level, or both. Regarding the climate change adaptation, it is important to integrate research results, but then the projects are actually not expected to focus on research itself, rather more how to ensure that innovative solutions and results of research are integrated and used by the key actors. Improving skills, competencies of policymakers and other stakeholders. Another topic, another type of activity can be related to coordinated flood risk or drought prevention. And within this, of course, nature-based solution can have important relevance. Combating floods, drought, and accidental pollution of transboundary rivers and climate change-related other disasters. Here is the transboundary river, transnational river is receiving emphasis as a target area. And within this, basically what is needed are harmonization, coordination, and joint solutions regarding planning, monitoring, or alert systems, inventories, as well as on the operational cooperation regarding the capacities and emergency response bodies. Again, in a harmonized cooperative way. And on a regional level, climate change and environmental risk-related disaster preparedness activities are also supported, which of course again means harmonized joint approaches and coordination of actions. What is not supported within this specific objective, in case the project is not able to demonstrate that the cooperation is necessary on transnational level. Either the topic, the thematic scope does not have this transnational dimension, or what the project is planning to carry out is not expected to have reasonable, relevant impact on transnational level. In case projects dealing with flood and accidental pollution management, but not its territorial focus, geographic scope is not on transboundary rivers or river basins, then the Danube region program is not where you would or you shall apply for support, but try some other financing instrument. It's also not, program is not supporting projects that are heavily focusing on infrastructure. Due to the characteristic of the program, we don't support major infrastructures. maybe some preparations towards that direction can be supported, but then the actual establishment, installation, or building of infrastructure is to be financed beyond the project and from other resources. It's also not matching the program characteristics if the projects are focusing on development of technical solutions. In fact, a program has another thematic, other specific objective under innovation in which this type of activities might fit, but within the specific objective 2.2, this is not the case. So here, projects basis shall be the territory, a certain transnational area, and with a concrete challenge, a concrete need for that broad area, which need a certain solution. And of course, in connection to this, development of a technical solution is appropriate, or application of a certain innovative solution is good and matching, but the project shall not, the starting point shall not be the development of an innovative tool, because then it does not fit this specific objective. It's also not matching if the project is focusing on research and data collection. Here in the Danube program, more the, let's say, uptake of such solutions and results of research are expected, and to ensure that these achievements are applied for the different challenges, either on upper operational level or influencing a certain relevant policies, strategies, plans. From a thematic point of view, there are two topics regarding climate change adaptation. One is the water scarcity related climate change adaptation, like low water periods affecting balanced use and quality of water, which topic is not to be submitted to specific objective 2.2, but to the 2.3, which is transnational water management. So that aspect of climate change adaptation is linked to the water management and not this specific objective. And regarding the biodiversity related climate change adaptation things, this is also not for this specific objective, but for another one, which is focusing on biodiversity, ecological corridor, and transnational ecological regions. That is specific objective 2.4. In case you might be interested in this topic, the thematic webinar on this topic will be today, this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Some words where the program stands at this stage. So the first core project is in that phase where the projects to be supported are selected, and within this specific objective there are 4 projects are to be supported by the program. One is focusing on transnational accident or pollution risk of tailings management facilities within the whole Danube region basin. And then there are 3 other projects which has more focus on urban, peri-urban related areas. One is dealing with urban heat islands, another one is dealing with flash floods and water scarcity and the adaptation of the so-called sponge city solution. And the third project is dealing with nature-based solution on riverside areas in connection to climate change adaptation. The reason I present these 4 projects and the related topics, because then the new applications are not supposed to address once again the same topics. So try to address other aspects of climate change adaptation. And what is, let's say, we are very much looking for such projects where the transnational level harmonization, coordination of monitoring or preparedness or reaction in relation to climate change induced environmental risks are addressed, of course, on a sufficiently broad territorial scope. So that's the main area where we expect projects. Other topics are not closed, so the whole spectrum of activities, what I presented and what you can read in the on the program documents are open. But what I just mentioned, that's the area where we expect projects. Some, let's say, experiences or examples of problems that we detected or mistakes that we detected in the first goal application. There were a couple of applications which, let's say, were not matching the thematic scope of this objective. Most probably because they were not reading carefully what exactly is supported by the program. So, for example, there was a proposal on industrial contamination or a certain, doesn't matter what sort of contamination, but there basically it was a misunderstanding of pollution, although the program and as the documents are emphasizing that accidental pollutions of transnational rivers, transnational river basins are in the scope of the program. General industrial contamination pollution that is out of scope of this specific objective. There was also another proposal on post-disaster renovation, which is again beyond the scope of the program in relation to the environmental risks and the related disaster management. And there was also a proposal, disaster management in case of electric vehicle accident. Here, what was misunderstood is that the program is supporting such environmental risks that are connected to climate change, based on climate change. So disasters like floods or droughts or forest fires, but although one might understand as environmental risk the earthquakes, but that is not in the scope of the program, or as the example is given, some sort of environmental challenges in connection to certain accidents. I mentioned also, nonetheless, there were proposals that technology development being in the scope, main scope of the project is not matching. Again, the project shall focus on a problem of a challenge or need of a certain transnational relevant area, and accordingly there can be application or development of certain technology or certain technological solution, but that shall not be the starting point. So this is not an innovation thematic area, it's rather more focusing on another thematic aspect. And another unusual problem is the limited territorial scope and the limited partnership of the proposals. Again, the program area covers 14 countries. Projects does not necessarily have to cover all 14 countries, but a reasonable broad space of it, be it a transnational river, the Danube River itself, or sub rivers like the Tisa or the Mura Drava or the Sava River, which covers or connects several countries, but cross-border river areas or 2-3 countries, 4 countries are rather limited to be to have sufficient and reasonable impact on the Danube region scale. So those are not supported. And of course, since partnerships are connected to the territorial scope of the project, that's another issue, how good or bad the partnership is. And as I presented, that certain issues in connection to climate change adaptation are to be linked to other specific objectives, and unfortunately there were some proposals which were not taking this into consideration and were submitted to a wrong specific objective. I would not touch this topic, but as we experienced in many proposals, the project intervention logic was problematic to properly define, as well as somehow also to demonstrate the links and contribution to the relevant Danube region strategy priority area. These are just general considerations. Now I switch to the other specific objective 2.3. Here, basically, one key feature of the region is that the program area is basically covering almost the whole water system of the Danube River Basin, which is a very good basis for cooperations addressing water management issues on this scale. And that's exactly what actually the program is supporting. The program is focusing on water quantity, quality, and sediment balance issues, again, on transboundary river basin scale, as well as surface, as well as underground water bodies. The related pressures can be considered as contamination and water pollution, increasing water use, as well as decreasing groundwater levels and shrinking supplies. Other challenges identified as increasing periods of low water in transnational river system due to basically the climate change, as well as the sediment balance and alterations. Another key feature and challenge is that impacts beyond the country borders affecting also the neighboring countries. So there is a strong need to cooperation in between the upstream and downstream countries. Of course, here we don't mean 2 neighboring countries, but the whole area of a certain transboundary river, transnational river. 3 main focus areas of these specific objectives are related to prevention and mitigation of water pollution, restoration of good quality of transnational water bodies, harmonizing management practices between key sectors to improve quality, quantity of water and sediment, as well as transnational coordination of water supply management, especially in relation to basin-wide importance of groundwater bodies. Within these, the different activities can address or try to improve policies and institutional capacities. Again, here we talk about integrated strategies, action plans, policy dialogues and sectoral dialogues, as well as capacity building trainings. Important aspect can be the harmonization of management processes, or elaborating and developing such solutions that can improve the problems affecting the water bodies. And of course, these solutions, these tools are also to be tested within the project to ensure that it's really valid and it's really providing appropriate solution. Again, just like I mentioned in the other specific objective, projects shall have a good and reasonable mix of these different kind of activities like tool development, trainings, or influencing policy or operational level. And again, and obviously in connection to water issues, here we expect integrated approaches. So of course, water pollution is not only a water management issue, issue of a water management bodies, but of course there are different other sectors that are influencing this situation. So the corporations are expected to have this cross-sectoral and integrated approach. And of course, as a horizontal issue in relation to the different topics, the consideration of the potential negative effects of climate change is also important. Some more concrete examples, what the program is supporting is that harmonized data availability, monitoring, modeling systems for transnational water management. Again, focusing on a sufficiently big water body, transnational water body. Capacity improvement to prevent, mitigate water pollution, or improving sediment balance and related morphodynamics, or potentials of floodplain reconnection. But this is expected to focus on to improvement of water quality. Then monitoring, modeling of transboundary groundwater systems, measures ensuring balanced use of water in relation to the climate change impacts, and measures in connection to climate change-induced low water periods on transnational rivers of Danube River Basin, which might affect the sediment, transport, navigation, or even the hydropower plant functioning. In this thematic field, what is not supported, once again, in case the proposal project is not able to demonstrate its transnational dimension and its potential transnational impact. In this specific objective, basically projects can apply only if, or of course applying one can, but it's matching only if the project is focusing on a transboundary river as a whole. Otherwise, it's not matching the program and this specific objective. The program is not supporting project that its main scope on infrastructure, or when the starting point or the main scope of the project is a development of a certain technical solution, which then is not adopted and which is not linked to the territorial challenge. The program is also not, and this specific objective is not research focused, research and innovation focused. This shall not be again in the main scope of the proposal. And regarding the emergency response to accidental pollution, so here the term pollution of waters is connected to the specific objective, but the emergency response to accidental pollution of such main transboundary rivers, as I presented you that is linked to another specific objective, which is 2.2. And regarding the floodplain restoration topic, what matches the 2.3 is shall be related to water quality issues, while in case floodplain restoration is linked more to flood protection, then that proposal would fit more the specific objective 2.2, or in case this floodplain restoration is focusing more on the ecological aspects in connection to ecological corridors and the related biodiversity, then that would fit better the specific objective 2.4. So these aspects shall also be considered to make sure that the right specific objective of the program is addressed. In this specific objective, in the framework of the first call for proposals, 5 proposals were selected. One is focusing on microplastic issues within transboundary rivers and managing microplastics. Another project is elaborating a harmonized Danube River Basin water balance modeling system. A third project is elaborating a Danube River Basin sediment balance and quality management strategy and plan, while another project is dealing with microplastics in drinking water resources within main transboundary rivers of the region. And there is also a project which is focusing on hazardous substances, water pollution, its monitoring and potential solutions once again on a Danube River Basin scale. Again, new projects are not expected to, let's say, address the same topics as these projects, but some other key aspects, challenges of this transnational topic. Some typical mistakes. Here again, there were some thematic misunderstandings. There was a proposal which was on utilization of selenium residues from industry, which has not much to do with transnational water management. Nonetheless, it was submitted here. And a key weakness was usually the rather limited territorial scope. So again, and I cannot emphasize that enough, it seems that the projects shall address a transnational river, and not only a certain bits of parts of such rivers, but as a whole, to have sufficient transnational impact on this level. And again, a general issue is regarding the project intervention logic and the links to the relevant Danube strategy priority areas. Beyond this thematic webinar, I would recommend you to check also the webinar provided for the lead applicants, which were clarifying these topics and these issues, how proposals shall approach, and then what and how to develop a good project intervention logic that is matching the program. With this, I would, let's say, close the different characteristics and different issues related to the specific objectives, and some words at the end of my presentation which are more general and relevant for both proposals for both specific objectives. One important topic is the partnership. There is the, let's say, eligibility requirement regarding applications that minimum 3 financing partners from 3 Danube region partner countries, Danube region program countries shall make up the partnership. But once again, this is a minimum requirement, and that is not yet sufficient for a good transnational project in the Danube region program. But regarding the partnership, what is important that in case, let's say, to be competent enough and competitive enough, then partnership shall be much broader. I already mentioned that projects addressing 3-4 countries is rather limited for the scope of the Danube region. So first of all, the territorial geographic scope of the project shall be clear and broad enough in the Danube region context. And accordingly, of course, then the partnership shall match with the territorial scope of the project, covering the same countries and same areas. And of course, the other aspect of partnership is that from thematic as well as territorial relevance and competence point of view, the partnership shall have a good coherent mix in a balanced way as well. So that's also an important aspect, to have a reasonably balanced partnership. Another important aspect of the partnership that projects are expected to focus on the whole region or the sufficient size of the part of the region and involve and address also non-EU countries of the region. So the partnerships shall involve partners from the non-EU countries of the Danube region as well. The program is, so the program support is providing a so-called Interreg funds, which means basically the integration of EU funds for EU countries as well as non-EU countries, which simplifies many things as well as provide much better opportunities for non-EU countries to partners from non-EU countries to participate on a basically equal basis compared to the entities coming from EU countries. So there is no differentiation anymore, like in the previous programming periods, if you might be familiar with previous program. And also a new feature of this program is that entities, organizations from non-EU countries can also even be lead partners within a project, with the exception of Ukraine, unfortunately, due to the circumstances there. It's important to understand, although I did not put on the slide, that partners can be eligible only coming from the Danube region area. So entities, organizations from outside the program area, from countries not part of the Danube region program, are not eligible. You might remember in the beginning I mentioned that Germany and Ukraine is covered only partly by the program area. Nonetheless, partners might be eligible from these two countries, even outside of those two German regions, or those 4 counties of Ukraine in case their relevance in connection to the Danube region can be proved. If you have in mind such, let's say, partner to be involved, then I recommend to contact directly either the respective national contact point of the country or the MAJS with a more concrete question. Regarding the financial aspects, as I mentioned, the program is providing the so-called Interreg funds, which is a kind of integrated pot for all participants or project partners from all 14 countries. The Interreg contribution is 80%, so 20% of the partner budget shall be provided by the partners themselves from different sources. And regarding the different specific objectives, the indicative allocation for the second call you can see in the on the slide in the table. So for climate change adaptation and environmental risks disaster management, it's slightly less than 6 million euro, while for water, transnational water and sediment management, it's roughly 4.5 million euro, which is available for the second call. This is an indicative allocation, but more or less that's the frame that within which some projects can be supported. So there are not too much funds, but only some 3-4 projects, as you can see. So that you can expect a quite strong competition. Regarding the second call, most probably you have learned that the call actually is open since the 2nd of November, and then this deadline to submit the applications is the 29th of March. Applications are to be submitted through the Danube Region Program GEMS, so-called Joint Electronic Monitoring System, online. So only electronically and only through this system is possible to submit applications. I would remind or raise the attention for those applicants who might be familiar with the GEMS from other programs, the Central Europe, or there are also other programs using the same system. The basis of the system is the same, but each program has its own system. So in case you might have been registered for another program in this system, that doesn't mean that you have a registration for the Danube region. You have to do it separately, and all information you can find on this on the Danube program website. Project duration is maximum 36 months or 3 years. And of course, this depends on how many applications we receive, and when the whole assessment and selection process can be concluded. But we estimate the project implementation start around the early 2025. Where you can get more detailed information, of course, on the program website. One section of the program website is providing more general information on how one can apply. There is a link, as you can see. Then there is a dedicated page on the second call, within which you can also find the links to what I already mentioned, the lead applicant seminars, and also to thematic lead applicant webinars, and then also to thematic webinars of other specific objectives. And the one you are following now, this will also be uploaded soon, and then will be accessible. Then within the core page, there is the applicants package with all relevant documents and manuals and guidelines. My colleague Mirjana, she already mentioned the so-called Danube Region Program Matchmaking Platform. This will be the tool, an important and useful tool for trying to find partners for your partnerships, as well as for organizations who are looking for relevant projects and they would like to join such projects. This tool is supporting that partner search, and this will be very useful. We here, as was mentioned, we ask a little more patience, and within roughly 2 weeks, this you will be able to access, and information you will find on the program website once this will be accessible. An important, let's say, resource can be the national contact points within all 14 Danube region countries. They can, of course, give you guidance on thematic issues as well, but much more on national aspects of the program and certain rules and understanding how things are going. And they might also be able to help you in helping to search for partners or projects. And of course, there is the Joint Secretariat, where you can turn with your questions, with your ad hoc specific questions on thematic or more technical issues. And regarding the project application, the Joint Secretariat is also providing a possibility for one bilateral consultation for roughly 45 minutes, 1 hour, which we would recommend to, let's say, use this opportunity in that phase when your proposal is already your proposal as well as partnership is in a more matured phase, more matured status, which can be then the basis of discussions in the details. From a thematic point of view, I would also strongly recommend to get in contact with the Danube Region Strategy relevant priority area actors and ask their advice and their support regarding it, and see how much your proposal and project idea is fitting the Danube strategy and its targets and objectives. With this, I got to the end of my presentation. Here you can find contact details on the one hand to the program, as well as my email address, which you can use if you would like to if you have more concrete and specific question. With this, then I stop sharing my screen, and then here is the time for questions, and let me see if we have received any. So the first question we received in the chat function of WebEx is it's from an ecological association from Moldova, and they plan to submit a project in the field of circular economy and is looking for partners. Here I would mention that the topic of circular economy is not really matching any of the two specific objectives I presented today. In priority one of the specific objectives is also addressing this topic, but unfortunately in the second call the whole priority area one is closed. So projects with focus on innovation and so innovation focused projects unfortunately has no possibility to apply, at least in the second call. The next question coming from Svilengrad municipality from Bulgaria, and they say that they are interested in flood protection. Okay, it seems once again it's a partner search question, or it's not actually a question, rather more an indication. The next one from Belene municipality, it's also another partner search comment, or yeah. Yes, there was a question regarding the approved projects. This, I think I presented at least the main scope of these projects. I presented. More details you will be able to learn on the program website, but the final decision of the monitoring committee is not yet made, and these projects are not yet contracted. So more concrete details you will be able to find on the program website only from January, sometime in January or early February. Once the projects are contracted and then the related project websites are created, and then the details of these projects are presented there. There is a question whether some network option for networking and potential partner search is planned by the program. As an event, such is not planned. We recommend you to use this matchmaking platform, which hopefully by the end of November you will be able to access and use. And basically that's the tool, the main tool for partner searching. There is no specific event planned with such a purpose by the program. The next comment that was also related to basically partner search. Yeah, someone was asking to get back to the contact, which has been shared already by someone. And most probably it's already a reflection on what I just said regarding this thematic scope of the projects approved. Until these projects are not contracted, basically we are not in a position to let's say, present anything more concrete. And this contracting will take place in very early January. So before that, beyond the, let's say, main scope of the project, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to share. In case you have something in idea, then I would recommend you to contact me directly, and then we can maybe discuss more concretely what you have in mind and how much that is different from what the already selected projects are dealing with, and how much then it would fit the respective specific objective. So that's what for the moment I can recommend you, or to wait until early next year and see what is presented by the project. Good. That were all the questions, at least so far, received on the chat. And then I would turn to some other questions that we received with the registration to this event, and I would try to answer to some of those. There was one question from Ukraine whether organizations from the Donetsk region near to the war zone can be eligible as partners. As I said, in general, organizations from the territory of whole Ukraine would be eligible in case, let's say, their activities can be proved that their activities have some relevance in the context of the Danube region. This is one aspect. The other aspect is to be near to the war zone. Regarding this, I would recommend you to contact the national contact point in Ukraine and ask them, because let's say, being in a danger zone, that might also affect, let's say, I don't know, in the implementation phase, certain things, including also, for example, control and check by the national control bodies. And this is their national responsibility, to which we cannot give concrete information, but it's their responsibility. Another question is whether an organization can be a partner in different projects and in different specific objectives at the same time. The answer is yes. There is not any restriction that a certain entity would not be able to, would not be possible to be part of different projects, different partnerships, even within or outside of a specific objective, in different specific objectives. Then there is a question regarding the transnational scope of a project, and the question is whether disaster risk preparedness related project, if they aim in different countries, but the exact risk differ from country to country, would that fit the specific objective? So it's a bit too general how the issue is presented. What is important to understand that the challenge, the specific challenge, territorial challenge and need that is to be addressed by the projects shall focus a sufficient and clear transnational area. And here we expect coordination, harmonization of especially regarding disaster risk preparedness. That's what on transnational level can be relevant. So that sort of link is important. Whether here the harmonization and coordination relates to the preparedness of certain relevant actors to be able to cooperate sufficiently, but maybe not exactly the same. So one is on flood and then on other issues. It might be reasonable, but I would rather more recommend to focus on the same topic, since there the need for cooperation, coordination, harmonization is much more clear and understandable, that why a certain body needs to harmonize any process if I'm dealing with flood protection, but the other one then is dealing with forest fire. What then is the common and what then the common background and the need to cooperate? In case my answer was not, let's say, sufficiently clear for you, then I recommend to address me directly by an email with more concrete details, and then we can discuss it more concretely. The next question is that saying that our group is investigating water purification using ferrite nanoparticles. Does this topic belong better to clean water or research and innovations? I would say, as I also tried to emphasize this during my presentation, this is rather more a research and innovation scope, because here the starting point is the specific technological development, technological innovation, while in case of specific objective 2.3, the water management topic, there the starting point shall be the geographical area to be addressed, where some common problem or common needs are to be solved through cooperation, which potentially can use some new innovative tool, but not the tool is the core element of the project, but the problem of the area. The next question is whether participation of a partner from Poland is possible. As I mentioned, for direct financing, entities or project partners are eligible only within the program area from those 14 program partner countries that are part of the region. And I already mentioned the specific characteristic of Germany and Ukraine. But regarding Poland, I can clearly say that entities from that country are not eligible within the program. The only option how some relevant organization to involve in a project is to involve them as a so-called associated strategic partners. The associated strategic partners does not receive funding from the project, but they can be involved so that one of the financing partners, or one of the project partners who has budget within the project, are covering the cost of these so-called associated strategic partners regarding their travel and accommodation. That's all what can be made. And in case, of course, still the relevance of the involvement of a partner from outside the region, even as an ASP, shall be justified and shall be reasonable. But in this way, some entities, relevant organizations, can be involved in the project and implementation, even if without direct financial support. And then the last question what we received from the registration is that weather adaptation to heat waves, a topic that is covered under the respective specific objective. Well, heat waves can, as a topic in general, can fit the specific objective 2.2. It is related to climate change, and of course, the adaptation aspect is what projects are expected to deal with. But here I would mention that in the first core phase, as I presented, there is already approved a project that is focusing on urban heat islands. So, of course, there can be other aspects of heat waves, but here I would recommend to be more cautious and let's say get in direct contact with me and then discuss more concretely the idea to make sure that is not sort of duplication what is already supported by the program and whether your idea can then match the specific objective of the program. Let me see if, but so far there were no more questions received through the comment. So from my side, including also the answers to the questions, both received online as well as through the registrations, I got to the end. And if there are no further questions, then I would thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you gained sufficient information to be able to decide whether your idea would fit the respective thematic specific objectives and what are the main characteristics. Of course, it is important that you read more in details all the relevant program documents, because from that you can gain more concrete information regarding what is supported by the program, how transnational programs shall look like, what are their characteristics, how this can be developed. So following webinars can provide important information and details, but that's not everything. So without reading those documents, based on webinars, that is not yet enough to be able to prepare a project. With this, I would wish you a successful project development and hopefully a successful application in case you see that your idea would fit the program. And with this, I would, from my side at least, close the event and wish you also a nice day. Then, thank you very much. And again, in case you might have more concrete questions, then please just contact, at least from thematic point of view, me, or with more general questions, you can also address the main program here. Thank you very much. All the best and goodbye.